What if I told you one of the lightest cars ever built came from post-war Japan, weighed less than a motorcycle, and was designed by an aircraft engineer? This is not a concept. This is not a toy. This is the Suminoe Flying Feather. And it might be one of the most overlooked engineering experiments in automotive history. Right after World War II, Japan was rebuilding from the ground up. Resources were limited, fuel was expensive, and people needed something simple, efficient, and affordable. Most companies played it safe, but one engineer didn't. His name was Ryuichi Tomiya, and instead of designing a typical car, he asked a completely different question. What if a car could be built like an airplane? Tomiya came from an aviation background where every gram mattered. Weight wasn't just a number, it was everything. So when he began working with Suminoe Manufacturing, his goal was clear: build the lightest car possible. Not the fastest, not the most powerful, the lightest. In 1954, that idea became reality. The Flying Feather. And the name wasn't just for show, it truly lived up to it. This car weighed only around 425 kilograms. To put that into perspective, that's lighter than many modern motorcycles carrying 2 riders. Under the hood, you won't find anything impressive by today's standards. Just a tiny 350 cubic centimeters air-cooled engine, producing around 12 to 13 horsepower. But here's the thing, when your car is that light, you don't need much power. It could reach a top speed of about 70 kilometers per hour, which was more than enough for city driving in 1950s Japan. The layout was simple. Rear-wheel drive, a 4-speed manual transmission. No complexity, no unnecessary systems, just pure mechanical simplicity. But the real genius of the Flying Feather wasn't in its engine. It was in how it was built. Instead of relying on heavy steel construction like most cars of that era, Tomiya applied aircraft design principles. Lightweight materials, minimal structure, and an obsession with reducing mass wherever possible. Every panel, every component, every detail was designed with efficiency in mind. Even the shape of the car reflected that philosophy. Smooth, rounded, and clean. Almost aerodynamic before aerodynamics became a mainstream focus for small cars. Inside, things were just as minimal. No luxury features. No distractions. Just the absolute essentials needed to drive. 2 seats, basic controls, and not much else. Driving the Flying Feather must have been a completely different experience. With such low weight, every input would feel immediate. The car would respond quickly, almost like an extension of the driver. But at the same time, it probably felt delicate, like you were driving something closer to a prototype than a finished product. And in many ways, that's exactly what it was. So why didn't it succeed? Why don't we see cars like this everywhere today? The answer is simple. It was too advanced for its time. Fewer than 10 units were ever produced. Manufacturing such a lightweight vehicle wasn't easy, and the market at the time wasn't ready for something so unconventional. People wanted durability. They wanted something solid, something familiar. The Flying Feather challenged all of that. It prioritized efficiency over strength, minimalism over comfort, and innovation over tradition. And because of that, it never became mainstream. Today, the Suminoe Flying Feather is almost forgotten, but its legacy is still incredibly important because it proved something most people didn't understand back then, and many are only starting to realize now. That making a car better isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about removing everything you don't need. And in a world now moving toward lightweight electric vehicles and maximum efficiency, this tiny machine from 1954 might have been decades ahead of its time.